Mental health issues are a reality for millions of people across the country. Young people are especially at risk, with half of college students reporting that they have been stressed to a point where they couldn't function during the past year. The impact of mental illness is so devastating that suicide is the third leading cause of death among all people ages 15 to 24. The good news is that nearly all mental health issues can be improved with proper treatment. When we decrease the stigma around mental health and encourage help seeking, we can change and save life. The Castleton Counseling Service strives to promote, enhance, and support student well-being and developmental growth within a safe, confidential environment through a range of mental health services. I met with 4 Castleton University students who shared their experiences of receiving counseling services here at Castleton.
So my name is Emma Fauché. I am a senior here.
Hi, my name's Joey, and I'm a sophomore accounting major here at Castleton University.
My name's Allie. I'm 19. I'm a sophomore here at Castleton.
I'm Mitchell Barnhart. I'm currently a sophomore here at Castleton.
I've struggled with depression and anxiety, and the first time I really started struggling with it was when I changed ADHD medicine in like 7th grade, and that affected me a lot.
I decided to seek counseling through the Wellness Center because I had been to counseling previously in my life when I was in middle school and high school. The problem all seemed to resolve upon my family and family disconnections I was dealing with at the time.
I've had anxiety since middle school, and it presented itself in the form of migraines, so I missed like most of 7th grade.
I first got counseling when I was 6th or 7th grade, and the reason for that was I was having a lot of difficulties transitioning between my 2 parents' houses because they were divorced.
And then when I entered high school, it got really bad to the point where I was suicidal, and I ended up acting on that, and my mom found out, and then I went to I got hospitalized for that. So I learned a lot through that process, and that was in high school. And then coming to college, I knew that I needed to work through everything, and I had already been working through everything for a few years prior. And I met Martha. I'm not sure how I met Martha. I think it was just the sessions, like the FYS sessions, and I just really liked her. I did the Student Support Network, and I really clicked with her, so then I ended up making appointments with her and seeing her weekly and talking through just the stress of college and everything that's included in that. And seeing her definitely helped me a lot, because I feel like I would have resorted to my old ways of self-harm. I don't think I would have tried to commit suicide again, but I definitely probably would have relied on self-harm a lot more, or just in general in college, if I hadn't seen her, because seeing her, like, it provided me with a person to let loose and just tell everything to, and not really worry about like somebody spreading gossip and all that. My counseling experience with Martha, it's kind of been like a roller coaster because when I first came here, I relied heavily on substances to just be happy and get through the day. And then I became a community advisor and completely stopped all of that because I didn't want to be a hypocrite, and I just knew I needed to better myself. So I stopped smoking, I stopped doing drugs and drinking, and I really turned my life around for the better. And Martha was the one person that witnessed it and really was with me throughout it all. She just kind of helped guide me get through it. Like if there was a rough day and I was just not sure what to do, she was always there. So that helped a lot. And I honestly don't know what I would have done without her. I'm a little nervous to graduate because she's not going to be there. But yeah, and one experience I just thought of, I went through my first year here, I was dating somebody, and that was when I wasn't in the best state of mind all the time, but I was dating somebody and went through a really hard breakup, and my friend actually reached out to Denise at the Wellness Center, and Denise got in contact with Martha, and Martha called me and just talked to me on the phone for about an hour, and this was later in the afternoon, so I don't think she was working, and she just took the time out of her day to just calm me down and really just help me get back into reality and think about the big picture, because in that moment, I was like, my life's over. Breakup. But yeah, I think that just shows who Martha is as an individual, and just the Wellness Center here, and how much they actually do care. Like, they'll take that time.
It's taken me a while now since I'm still receiving counseling, but I finally come to the discovery to better my life, and that's why I chose to go seek counseling through the Castleton Wellness Center. All the staff and the workers there have been very nice and have done everything they've been able to do to be able to help me. They've created a welcoming and wonderful atmosphere to be in, and a safe environment where you could talk about anything you wish to talk about. Like I said, the problem's all resolved in my family, and specifically kind of around my parents. I've never really had a good relationship with my dad's side of the family, and I found it was turning into an abusive relationship, and that's why I never really had a good relationship with that side of my family. It's helped to really make a difference, like I said before, with self-discovery and things like that. But the biggest thing was discovering that in order to make myself happy, I had to go out and make the difference myself. Doing things like taking long walks around campus or creating good support networks with friends. But the biggest difference you can make is yourself. And in order to accept the help you're being given, you yourself need to accept the help.
But I kind of figured it out. I'm a dancer, so I used that as a way to cope. And for a little bit, I did go to therapists, and then that kind of just fizzled out, and I learned how to handle it on my own. And then I came to college, and then it was a lot harder. I originally lived on campus. That didn't work well for me. It amplified my anxiety a lot. I would get very stressed out about my schoolwork. I just put a lot into like what the physical grade is gonna be, and because of that, I just never had any motivation to do it, and I would have panic attacks, and I would stop like eating because my stomach just hurt so bad from it, and I would like want to spend all day in bed, and like it was really bad. I would call my mom crying all the time, and like eventually I switched rooms and I moved in with my best friend, and that helped for a little bit, but then she didn't know how to handle it, because a lot of the time when people don't have anxiety or anything, they don't know what it feels like, so they don't know what to say. So that kind of fizzled out too, and it got to a point where I almost dropped out of school, which is like a big deal to me. Like, that school has always been something that I wanted to do, and so I went to the doctor and I got prescriptions for Zoloft, and that helped a lot. And after I started taking it, I realized that I wasn't even like myself. Like, I didn't really have my personality when I was without my medication, and it was like, yeah, I would do the stuff, but like I didn't care, like hang out with family and stuff, like it didn't do anything for me. So I went to the wellness center, and I just knew about that because they talked to us a lot about getting help and all that kind of stuff. So I went there. I would go for a weekly session and just talk stuff out, and that was really helpful. And I'm on my medication still, and I don't go to counseling anymore. I've actually been okay. I had one panic attack this year so far, but now I have Xanax in case I have one. So I found that for me, medication helps a lot, but I know that for a lot of people it doesn't. So, yeah, I just know that with my anxiety, it puts me in a very dark place, and it's really hard to do like everyday normal things.
So counseling was sort of forced upon me, but I went through, I think it was about 2 counselors before I found one that I was really comfortable with. When I finally did get to that particular counselor, it took me about, let's say, 3 months of just talking about random things before I could actually like talk about things that were actually affecting me. So through that, so since that's been like 7 or 8 years now, has that? Yeah. So, you know, I've been on and off. When I first got counseling, I was on it for like 3 years, consistently going every week. And then in high school, it was kind of on and off. And then I started back up again when I came here to Castleton. You know, the difference that counseling made for me was giving me an avenue beyond my parents to talk about difficulties that I was having with my parents, and difficulties that since I was a child of divorce from the age of 3, how my parents were putting me in the middle, and you know how to deal with that, and how to find my voice, as my father often put it, and really express what I'm feeling.
Counseling made a huge difference in my life, and something that as a community advisor I tell people is it's about finding the right counselor, because I've had previous counselors before Martha and I just felt worse after leaving, but I just have that bond with her. So I think it's about finding the right person who your personality matches with and you just feel comfortable talking to. That's probably advice.
I would definitely recommend the wellness services for anyone out there. They're very approachable and very nice to deal with, and they don't even start out by asking you what the problem is. They start out by asking you what kind of person you're like, so they kind of start to discover who you are. And then by discovering who you are, you essentially help to discover what the problem is and ways you can solve it.
My advice, if you think that you have anxiety or depression, don't be ashamed to go get help, because it feels like something's wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with you. It's a chemical imbalance in your brain, and you're going to be fine. Just go get help.
Any advice for someone who's considering counseling? I mean, the counselors here at Castleton are spectacular. They're fantastically easy to talk to, and I'm sure that they'll tell you this too, that if you're gonna come in, you don't have to immediately talk about your problems. You can get comfortable with that counselor, and as far as any sort of stigma that goes along with counseling, yeah, there is a stigma, and you can avoid saying it to people, but to me, it's kind of a part of growing up, is that, hey, I recognize I need help, and I'm going to go get it. And to me, that seems like the more mature thing to do, rather than simply just letting things go.